What is up, y'all? It's your boy Winston Wolf. I'm back. I just want to do a quick video. Yes, the fan is out. No, I'm not shutting it off. I shampooed the carpet. It's all steamy in here. Pause. But I haven't been doing reviews. I've just been way too busy. A lot of stuff I don't want to get into, and you don't care anyways for the couple people that care. But I'm going to start doing stuff more on a regular basis. I have a new channel. I'll tell you about it for the couple people that care, probably in the next video. Michael J. Fox, Teen Wolf. I wanted to do a review for it before Halloween. That's how busy I've been, and I haven't got around to it for the couple people that care. And just watching that, I forgot how good it was. And like anything with Michael J. Fox is just great. And just because even when you were watching things at the time, even if it wasn't when the movie came out, just your first time watching that, you knew that this was like a once-in-a-lifetime talent. It was just so many different things mixed together. And I know me describing him is very pause-worthy, but it's MJF, man. You know, he just, like, it's a shame we didn't get more movies with him. And it's a shame that he isn't a vampire in, you know, in ages. Because just how many movies you can make just based off of his personality and his acting style and everything. And that's why we are so grateful and so lucky people don't realize to have somebody like Tom Holland. Like if you were ever going to do any kind of Back to the Future continuation, you know, like how in all these movies, how we got all this multiverse thing, now would be the perfect time to have something happen with, you know, time and streams, whatever, and have him play that same character. You know, do the whole thing with him and Robert Downey as Doc Brown and him. I don't think anybody would be mad. Even people that, oh, we can stop with the remake, stop with that. When you have a once-in-a-lifetime, you know, personality like Tom Holland and Michael J. Fox, you got to take advantage of it. Because name one person who could play Marty McFly or even a character like him. Besides Tom Holland, you can't. I'm going to answer for you. You can't. But Teen Wolf, so I took notes like a long time ago. Okay, Teen Wolf. If you haven't seen this movie, I'm not talking about the garbage remake TV show. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that CW-esque garbage is. But in Teen Wolf, he has a best friend named Boof. For some reason, he pushes her off. He doesn't want to be involved with her. If there was a cute girl and her name was Boof, if you don't know what Boof is, boofing in prison talk is when you stuff something up your butt to hide. Like, let's say you boof a cell phone. That means somebody brought it into the visiting area and you shoved it up your butt and you took it back and you sold it or you used it yourself. I'm trying to find a phone charger right now. So if you're gonna hang out with any girl, hang out with the one whose nickname is Boof. Okay? What other notes did I take? So the jock, his like rival or whatever. First of all, back in those 80s movies, man, when I was a kid growing up watching those on HBOs, I got heartburn, I'm sorry. When I was a kid watching all those HBO classics in like middle school, elementary school, I was deathly afraid because I watched all those 80s high school coming of age movies where the freshmen would just get terrorized, beat up. I mean, in Karate Kid, they were straight up trying to kill Daniel. Let's just keep it funky. They shoved him off a cliff. So seeing stuff like that, I was like, yo, I do not want to go to high school. It seems like just, you know, a prison. A prison with less guards. That's what it seemed like to me. But again, watching Teen Wolf, man, the guy, the jock, the basketball player from the other team. By the way, a severe lack of black basketball players. Jesus Christ. No wonder those games were so terrible. My God, what was the score until he actually wolfed out? It was like 12-8. Anyways, speaking of that, check out a movie called Soul Man, if you can find it. I think they've tried to erase that from history. But you know, his rival, the jock, god damn, dudes were looking like, in those teen movies, they were looking like 47-year-old men with mortgages and 2 ex-wives. They were just, I mean, nowadays it's like you get like a 40-something-year-old person and you still gotta card them. Back then, go back and look at old Larry Bird. Go back and look at old Larry Bird stuff. You'll be sitting there and you'll be like, man, he looks like a 47-year-old guy. He looks like he smokes a whole pack of Camels during halftime. And then you look at his age during whatever year of the highlight you're watching, and it'll be like 27. You'd be like, hell no. Hell no. They were aging like bread and a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk in the hot Saharan sun. He looks scary. But his girlfriend, the one that Teen Wolf ended up banging, that Boof was all salty that he was banging, she looks like a porn star named Sunrise. I think her name was Sunrise Adams. I don't know what happened to her, but I remember her being like the first porn star that I was like, she's too pretty for porn. You mean to tell me she can't find some simp, some millionaire, some Mark Cuban type dude just to trick off money on her? She's got to go, But check out Sunrise Adams. I don't know what happened to her, but she was pretty beautiful, especially after she got the augmentation in the upper body. So there's a part in the movie where his dad, Teen Wolf's dad, who is also a werewolf, in the background somewhere, you see that he's got like framed like war medals. So he was like in Vietnam, I assume. Just judging from his age and everything. And he has a like Army Ranger patch on there. So he was a Ranger. So not only was he in Vietnam, he was doing Special Forces. So that's the movie I want to see. I wonder if that was some kind of just Easter egg. Back before they would actually think of cool stuff like that. I wonder if the director was like, yo, wouldn't it be cool if we just had a backstory where, like, the dad, even though he's kind of a dork, like, back in his day, he was running, secret missions with the Army Rangers and just straight up wolfing out and just killing a bunch of... That's the movie I want to see. I want to see Michael J. Fox... What was his name? Scott? I want to see Scott's dad in Vietnam wolfing out, murdering whole platoons of Vietnamese soldiers. That's what I want to see. And also, did they team him up? Did they just send him out on missions by himself wolfing out? Or was he in a group with other, like, supernatural beings or other wolves? Because I assume in this there has to be other wolves in this universe. There has to be. Can't be the only one. So does the government have, like, a secret tab on, like, all these different wolves? And they were like, you know what? We're going to draft werewolves. We're going to rig this to where the known werewolves that are within the age, we're going to draft them into Vietnam. We're going to put them all together in a special forces platoon and send them out for secret missions. That's the movie I want to see. That would be dope. To me, But, hey, I thought Prometheus was dope, so... A lot of people didn't. Also, Styles, his friend. There's a scene where he sniffs out the weed. This is another movie I want to see. Where he sniffs out the weed in the garage. If you don't know what it is, Styles is Teen Wolf's best friend. I don't know if they have Styles in this whole remake, weird, goofy, dorky looking show that they have. But Styles misplaces a bag of weed in his garage. He's like, hey, Teen Wolf, sniff it out for me so I can find this weed and we can smoke down. Teen Wolf sniffs it out and he finds the weed. I want Styles to be like, you know what? We can flip this into something else. This is not in the movie. This is the movie I want to see. Where, like, Styles was speaking jive earlier in the movie. So obviously he might know where the sketchy neighborhoods are at. And I want him to go to the sketchy neighborhoods and be like, and go to Scott and be like, wolf out. Sniff out the houses that got kilos. Scott sniffs out the houses with kilos, goes in there, just murders everybody in there, takes the kilos, brings them back to Styles. They start their own cocaine distribution, empire. And then in the end, the government catches on and they're like, hey, you know that? And this will be in the same universe as his dad with the Special Forces werewolf thing. If you're following me, because I'm all over the place right now. But I want the government to be like, hey, you remember that werewolf dude that was, the one in Vietnam? His son is a huge cocaine dealer down in Miami, and he's out of control. We got to take him down and have, the end of the movie just a big Scarface, like the end of Scarface, where just like DEA agents and the government are just storming Scott's just mansion, and he's just taking a hail of bullets. But of course nobody has a silver bullet, so he ends up living for a sequel. I don't know. That's the movie I want to see. Michael J. Fox as the cocaine lord werewolf. That's me. Um, there's more notes here. I wonder what Prime Minister. Okay, so I don't know what Transylvania has: a president, a prime minister, a dictator. I don't know, but I wonder if when he saw and heard the news of a werewolf just scoring 700 points in a high school game. By the way, and he was doing all that. Look at how much he just dribbles with his right hand. This dude barely dribbles with his left hand. He was heck of a scorer. Werewolf point guard, heck of a scorer. Could not dribble with his left hand. That was his only weakness. They should have peeped that. The coaches, the other team's coaches, what were you doing? You need to own your $12,000 a year salary, homie. But I wonder if the prime minister of like Transylvania like heard of this and was like, we can finally get into the Olympics, and just like assemble his own crew of like Frankenstein, you're gonna be center. Dracula, you're gonna be shooting guard. Other werewolf, you're gonna be small forward / power forward. So right there, Transylvania could have pulled in some gold medals. After that, how hyped the coach? The coach for that team. See, nowadays you hear about all these teachers, hooking up with the students and stuff. That coach in Teen Wolf now. You can't tell me, especially in them 80s movies, there was always a hole in the wall going to the girls' locker room. You can't tell me that coach, who was clearly coked out of his gourd, clearly, go back and watch it. You can't tell me he wasn't hooking up, or at least trying to hook up with the female students. He was on one. He wasn't on one. He was on a few. Let's see, what else do we have? But he seems like the kind of coach that, like, because, there's a scene where they want to go try to, where Scott has to pretty much threaten a guy at the store to get a keg of beer because he's underage. He seems like the kind of coach that, like, he would have bought, his players beer. He would just been like, you do not tell your parents. If you tell, I will deny it. You will never play in any game. I will bench your ass. No, I'll do it, but you got to keep your mouth shut. The basketball team is named the Beavers. Bravo. Whoever came up with that, bravo. Because, oddly enough, if I was ever going to have a basketball team, that's what I would name them, is the Beavers. And Style graduates from Rose and yeah, Styles driving around in the human trafficking van. That's never, see, now we're like, back in those days, kids would do things like, hitchhike and all that kind of stuff. Now there's a lot of, I want to see where Styles is at now. Because, you know what I'm saying, when you go from whatever he was driving to a straight up human trafficking van, and, you're that much of a degenerate, you cannot tell me that Styles doesn't have trinkets from his victims. You cannot tell me that Styles doesn't have 4 13-year-olds buried in the crawl space of his mom's house. You can't tell me that. Styles seemed like he was never going to get it together. And his best friend was a werewolf. So, I mean, he was going to, at some point, he was going to have to feel the urge to match the crazy with Scott. You know what I'm saying? But I think we all had a friend like Styles. And I think we all, once we lost contact with them and found out what they were doing, I think we all found out that they had a dead 13-year-old in their crawl space. So, it happens. Teen Wolf, 1980, it had to have been late 80s. No, maybe mid-80s. I don't know. I mean, you got to give it a 10. It's a Michael J. Fox classic. You know what I'm saying? There's, Back to the Future. I'm naming off Michael J. Fox classics. Back to the Future, Teen Wolf, Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3, Bright Lights, Big City, I will say, is a Michael J. Fox classic. And Midnight Madness. Midnight Madness, look it up. Teen Wolf 10. What do you... Michael J. Fox, the GOAT. I'm sorry, the Wolf.